The unseen mechanics of English, a teacher's transformation. And we've all been there. Teaching English, confident in our grammar, fluent in our speech. But what happens when the student struggles to produce a single, simple sound or misunderstands a simple question? In my previous experience before detailed English teaching courses, I saw English as a beautiful tapestry. Now I see the intricate, almost hidden loom that creates it. The course was about what English is, some brief history, and how English works down to the microscopic level of sound and syntax. My goal here is to document a transformation, a professional and personal shift, from merely knowing English to truly understanding its mechanics, particularly in phonetics, phonology, and the precise architecture of grammar. This journey has revolutionized my approach to teaching and learning. This isn't just a report. It's an evidence-based testimony to the profound value of understanding concepts like received pronunciation, RP, and the 12 verb tenses. These tools are the smooth moves of effective language instruction. The smooth moves concept, as explored in supplementary materials, became a guiding principle for understanding how to help students navigate the complexities of fluent English, the phonetic foundation from tongue to transcript, and the mechanics of sound production. Everything starts in the vocal tract. As our course materials illustrated, speech isn't magic. It's coordinated muscle action. The very source of sound is the vibration of the vocal cords. From there, every other organ, the tongue and the lips, become an articulator. Understanding the manner of articulation was key for me. Some examples. We categorize consonants by how the air is obstructed. Consonants involve some constriction of airflow, while vowels do not, as clearly demonstrated in our module's diagrams. The difference between a stop like B, a complete block, and a fricative like V. A controlled friction is minimal but crucial for a teacher. The place of articulation. Knowing that bilabial means two lips, or that alveolar involves the ridge behind the teeth, gave me the precise vocabulary to correct a student's mispronunciation without resorting to vague instructions like, just say it better. Consonants are grouped by place, manner, and voicing. For example, the nasals, n and un. As discussed, these are produced when the air is completely blocked in the mouth but released through the nose. That small change in velum position changes the entire word. This understanding directly relates to how the soft palate influences airflow. Mastering the IPA. The International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA, is the scientist's scalpel for language. It is used to show how different words are pronounced and forces us to distinguish between spelling and sound. The fact that some words in English can be pronounced several different ways is a nightmare. The IPA is the cure. We learned that consonants are produced with some obstruction, while vowels are produced with no obstruction, defined only by the shape of the mouth and the position of the tongue. This simple distinction helps explain why the short vowels like a in cat versus the long vowels, like e in sheep, cause so much trouble. Suddenly, confusing English spelling became irrelevant. Transcribing words like magazine into the International Phonetic Alphabet as magazine, or margarine as margarine, shifts the focus entirely to sound production. This is invaluable information for intermediate students who are ready to fine-tune their accent. Phonology and context, rhythm and flow, stress and rhythm. A key discovery was that English is a stress-timed language. We don't give equal time to every syllable. This explains why foreign students sound choppy. They're often trying to give every syllable equal weight, like in syllable-timed languages Spanish, French, and Italian. We learned that we primarily stress content words, the ones that carry the most meaning, and reduce the function words. This creates the characteristic rhythmic lilt of English, the rhythmic swing or cadence. This stress pattern is so foundational that even differences between American and British English often come down to stress placement, as seen in words like controversy or advertisement. Received pronunciation RP, once known as BBC English, is defined by these subtle patterns of stress. Connected speech and vowel reduction. In rapid speech, we employ connected speech rules to flow words together. Elision is the omission or deletion of a sound or syllable in a word, typically for ease of pronunciation, like the T in next time or the middle syllable in camera. Then there's intrusion, when the word law meets and an intrusive with slides in to smooth the transition, law and order. This is a massive barrier to comprehension for many learners and a core component of fluent speech. And finally, vowel reduction. This is the single most defining feature of the English rhythm. In unstressed syllables, vowels change. They weaken most often into the schwa. It's what makes to sound like ta in most sentences. Example: I can take it later if you want. The word can is reduced. The word it is reduced. Content words like take, want, and later stay strong. Understanding this is key to teaching listening comprehension, as it fundamentally alters vowel sounds. The role of intonation, the rise and fall of the voice when speaking, creating a melody that conveys meaning beyond words. Intonation, the melody of speech, provides essential context. We confirm that most intonation changes occur on stressed syllables. A rising intonation usually signals a yes-no question, while a falling intonation signals a what's in question or a statement. Example: are you coming? Voice goes up on coming. Where are you going? Voice goes down on going. I'm ready now. Voice settles downward on now. Also, without intonation, people will not know you've finished a sentence. Conversely, you can use intonation to indicate you're not done speaking. Example: I'm going away, but I'll be back. This subtle yet powerful tool shapes how an utterance is received. These features, stress, reduction, elision, and intonation, don't exist in isolation. They are the unseen mechanics that give English its distinct rhythm and allow native speakers to communicate efficiently. Grammar, precision, and syntax. The 12 verb tenses. Moving from sound to structure. English has 12 primary verb tenses. This is crucial for systematic teaching. These are not just grammatical exercises. They are tools for expressing nuanced time and aspect. The correct use of auxiliaries like do, does, and have defines English sentence structure, as we saw illustrated in examples like I don't have versus he doesn't have. For instance, knowing that simple past negation requires didn't plus the base form of the verb. The lesson from our modules is a common point of failure for English learners that require precise instruction. Similarly, understanding when to use a versus an based on the following sound. Use a before a word that begins with a consonant sound and an before a word that begins with a vowel sound. Sentence structure and noun forms. Defining a simple sentence as containing one verb and one clause forms the basis of all syntactic analysis. Everything else builds from there. A noun clause, for example, is a dependent clause that occupies a noun slot, subject, object, complement. This functional definition is far more useful to a learner than simply memorizing rules. Finally, the power of verbals. Recognizing a gerund as a verb in the ing form functioning as a noun demystifies complex sentence structures. It also opens up avenues for more sophisticated native-like expression. History. The ever-changing tongue. Old English. Roots and invasions. To truly understand modern English, we must examine what happened to it over centuries. English is a Germanic tongue that began as one of three main dialect groups stemming from the vast Indo-European language family thousands of years ago. Its direct history in Britain began around 1,600 years ago, when the Romans abandoned the island in the 4th century. This power vacuum led to the invasion of Germanic tribes, Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, who were initially invited by the Celtic leader Vortigern to fight the Picts, but who quickly betrayed the Britons and began a campaign of conquest. These invaders became the English, speaking 4 dialects, with Mercian being the basis of modern English. It provided all our most essential and familiar words. The earliest literature like Beowulf and the law codes of Ethelbert of Kent show us a language barely recognizable to a modern speaker. The Great Borrowing. The first foreign influences were from the Celts, Thames, Severn, and 2 waves of Latin. Then the Vikings arrived. The high degree of mutual intelligibility between Old English and Old Norse led to a flood of everyday common words like take, sky, leg, and skill being borrowed. Crucially, the contact between these languages led to the dropping of complex grammatical endings, resulting in a more simplified, more recognizable form of English. The single most profound change was the Norman conquest of 1066. This military event forever changed English. Over the Middle Ages, English took more than 10,000 words from French. This is why we have 2 words for the same thing. The English farmer kept the name for the animal he reared, cow, pig, while the French nobility used the name for the cooked meal, beef, pork. From the 15th century onward, as England's trade routes became global, the language embraced a new world. We borrowed shipping terms from the Dutch like buoy, deck, and cultural terms from the Spanish like comrade, and Italians umbrella. By 1600, when Shakespeare wrote, his works used some 20,000 words, many from abroad, showing that even his sceptred isle was an international blend. Modern change and variation. The pronunciation we use today is not the pronunciation of Shakespeare's time. The great vowel shift and subsequent changes in the 18th and 19th centuries even created the modern difference between American and British English. Language change is constant. Young speakers are always innovating, such as changing nouns into verbs or changing the meaning of epic to describe a cheeseburger. This brings us to the critical final lesson. There is no such thing as correct English. Variations like the local Fargo pronunciation of bison or the use of habitual B in African American English are systematic and serve as social identifiers, not failed attempts. However, failure to say it right can have real social consequences. As we saw in the discussion of the well-known Rachel Jeantel case, language variation can lead to a person being widely misunderstood or discredited. In her testimony in the 2013 trial of acquitted George Zimmerman in the murder and manslaughter, shooting death of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin, her appearance on the stand sparked significant public and media controversy, due to both her mannerisms and her use of African American slang, which many observers believe negatively impacted the prosecution's case. The pressure to conform can fall on young Caucasian women in the example of vocal fry, and also those who belong to less privileged demographics. Conclusion: the teacher as a linguist. The effort required to synthesize the content of English 5301 into a cohesive understanding is challenging, yet rewarding, because the outcome is a new professional identity. I no longer approach pronunciation as mere repetition. I now teach the place, manner, and voicing of consonants. I no longer fix a lumpy rhythm. I teach the rule of stress timing and vowel reduction. This course has turned me into a diagnostician, a teacher who can pinpoint the precise linguistic root of a student's error, whether it's a failure to use the intrusive W or a mistake in applying the rules of connected speech. The course reminded me that effective teaching finds the perfect balance. The language level that is neither overload nor boring, ensuring that the teacher is a bridge between the learner and the new language. A concept symbolized by the idea that too much language is overload. Not enough is boring. The hidden mechanics and endless evolution of English are now visible. And, for the teacher, sight is the greatest tool of all. Thank you for showing me the way language truly works.